What's going on, you guys? Ian, the virtual reality ginger here, and I just finished an awesome interview with Blair Renaud, and he's the lead developer of the top-selling game in the Oculus Store, Technolust. And it was a really awesome interview, and I think you're really gonna love it. But I hate it when people upload these giant 45 or 50-minute things and then give me no way to navigate it. So in the video description below, you can go through and you can see all of the questions that I asked Blair and the link to the exact moment when we're discussing that, okay? That way you don't have to watch this entire thing if you don't want to. I also want to take a moment to announce that this Saturday, April 30th at 9 o'clock Eastern, I will be streaming Technolust live, and Blair will be there in the chat answering people's questions, talking with you guys, and just hanging out with you all while I play the game in the Oculus Rift. So the last thing I want to say is I really hope you enjoyed the interview. There were a couple of kind of awkward moments because we were having some internet connection issues, and of course we're two strangers that just met on the internet, right? So we take a little bit to get warmed up to each other, but I think the information's really stellar. I think you're going to enjoy it. And so if you do, make sure to give the video a thumbs up on your way out. Also subscribe to my videos and to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. And most importantly, even more importantly than my own self-promotion, is make sure you go out and support Blair. He's created an awesome game. He and his studio have created just a stellar game, great music, great game design, just a lot of fun. And it's one of the highest reviewed games and top selling games on the Oculus Store right now, and he totally deserves it. Really cool guy. So if you haven't gotten Technolust yet and you enjoy the interview and it looks like something you're interested in, make sure you go out and buy it, because Blair needs your money to break even at least. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the interview, and I'll see you all in another video soon. So I am here with Blair Renaud. That's correct, right? The D's silence? Okay.
You don't have to force the French accent. Just don't say the D.
Well, we spent some time in Paris, and now I feel like I'm Parisian now.
Well, you're more French than I am.
That's so far from true. So, of course, the lead developer of Technolust, awesome game, and most decidedly, based on my research, not a developer on Max Payne.
No, it's true. I am not a developer.
So again, I'll probably thank you about 27 times before the end of this thing, but thank you so much for doing this. And yeah, it's really cool. I've complimented you before we started the recording here about your awesome setup there and how much it screams game dev. But yeah, man, I appreciate you clearing the time. So I guess we'll just go ahead and jump into it. I'll look at my cheat sheet over here. And I was surprised. I listened to 2 or 3 different interviews with you, from actually quite a ways back when you were just getting your DK2 and just getting Technolust running. And I was surprised nobody really asked about this that I heard. But what was your inspiration for Technolust?
Oh, VR.
Yeah.
That's my inspiration. I think I've been asked this. Basically, I got the DK1 and. Put it on and tried every demo that was available, and there was no cyberpunk stuff at all. If you actually dig through the Oculus forums, the first post I ever posted there was, "Where's the cyberpunk love?" And it's like me and Cyber Reality from the forum saying, "Yeah, like why isn't anyone making a cyberpunk game?" Yeah. So I decided to do it. I was like, this needs to happen.
So that was the core inspiration. So what about and I remember I did hear an interview about that. You mentioned that, but what about the story? What about the plot? What about the actual movement of the story there?
So it's funny. I was kind of joking around with some guys the other day about how I'm one guy, so a lot of the assets for the game are, from the asset store or just like things I managed to get freelancers to do. And what ended up happening is sometimes the assets that I got kind of affected where the story went. Because I was like, or I'd like start building a really cool environment, and I was just like, oh, well, this is cooler than what I had in mind, so let's kind of steer the story that way. Yeah, it was pretty organic, which I think is probably bad. Like you shouldn't do that. That like I'd love to say that there was a script the whole time, but it changed a lot over time based on, kind of my mood.
Yeah. So now, as far as this, dystopian future, where I don't think I'm really giving anything away here, where basically corporations have the 1% has purchased the 99% to a degree and really limited their abilities and powers and power to create and stuff like that. Is that inspired by anything within you that you kind of see us headed that way with the wealth distribution of the world today and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's, well, like I started the game 2 years ago, and it was kind of the whole Occupy movement was happening around then, and it's a pretty common theme with cyberpunk, right? Like
Yeah.
there's like four major themes that can call themselves cyberpunk. It's like
Yeah.
AI revolutions, corporate control. Um, so yeah, and at the same time, good sci-fi is kind of reflective of reality, or like even prophetic, hopefully. But I I don't mean hopefully for Technolust. I'm not looking forward to a dystopian future, but
Yeah.
it's cool for fiction.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think we're at any risk of hitting something that extreme with the path we're on right now?
I hope not. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Things have a way of kind of working themselves out, if it's through, armed rebellion or revolution or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people, there will always be more poor people than rich people. So if push comes to shove, oh, I should mute my phone. Hopefully, hopefully things will work themselves out, and you know we'll end up in a future like Star Trek: The Next Generation rather than Technolust.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I
and
hope.
I tend to agree with that. I think, yeah, for the most part, we correct things that are on like a really extreme path, and yeah, we're kind of headed that way. But at the same time, there are movements and stuff like that. I think that keep us, I guess, keep the majority of the population at least present in decision making. Hopefully, it stays that way. So, my next question on my cheat sheet is, which of course you've seen, so it's not like this is completely manufactured, but
Yeah,
um,
I can read them.
so what's the I picked up on recently the Crushfield soundtrack. All of those tracks are original, created for Technolust, correct?
There were a couple of tracks that Crushfield had like existing
Uh-huh.
that I just asked if he could throw them in, basically license them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the majority of them were made for the game. We're actually putting together the soundtrack right now.
I saw
I
that. I
just
saw that.
emailed back and forth. Yeah. So hopefully sometime this week. I think it'll be like, $10 on Bandcamp or something.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of people love it, so
Yeah.
that's great.
I mean, during my stream, I was a few hours into the 32-hour stream when people were asking Technolust, 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 and I was like, well, it's not an official launch title, but you guys are asking about it so much, I bought it and started the download while my stream was running, and I was a few hours into my stream, starting to feel it a little bit. The first time I hopped into Technolust, and instantly the soundtrack just goes so hard that it was the first thing that struck me was, okay, this is awesome. I mean, the soundtrack is really cool, and I was actually thinking about that earlier today preparing for the interview. I remember seeing a tweet yesterday or the day before that about the soundtrack coming out. I'm absolutely buying it whenever it comes out, because and that was really smart of you guys too. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone complimenting on you on it, awesome, but a lot of devs I don't think would have the vision to go, hey, maybe we should release that as an individual thing, because I'd love to listen to it driving around or in the shower or whatever. It's a badass soundtrack.
Yeah.
So
I think it was like, yeah, well, there was a lot of demand for it. People were saying, oh, who's the artist? Where can I get the music and stuff? And because I'm an indie developer, I didn't really pay him that much. And there was no royalty deal, right?
Yeah.
Because So basically, the idea was we'll put together the soundtrack, and the artists can sell it, and I'll just take a small cut from that, right?
Yeah.
And then, that's kind of like royalties.
Yeah, yeah. I hope it goes well for him, man. He deserves it. I was thinking that too, that he's got to be, especially to agree to, work with an indie game dev. I know that's how a lot of people, hopefully, fingers crossed, they get their start. And he's a really good artist, man. He deserves it for sure.
He's gonna love you. He actually streams also. He does Twitch. He's Ultra Gamma on Twitch.
I'm gonna have to look him up.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's great. Yeah, you'd be surprised though. Like, of course he's amazing, but it's like I've never been solicited so much except by music and sound guys.
Really?
Making a game. Like, your inbox is full of just people like, hey, I'm a whatever sound designer or composer.
Yeah.
Please look at my portfolio or whatever. I think it's well, first of all, there's a lot of people trying to break into VR, right?
True, yeah.
Whether it's sound designers or programmers or whoever. But I think there's a lot more sound designers out there than there are cool projects to work on.
Probably,
so,
yeah. Very true. Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah, luckily I got a good one.
Yeah. So did you seek him out because you heard those tracks that you liked so much that eventually made the game, or how? I mean, I don't even know how you get a sound like that. What did you say to him? Well, how did you find him?
So I'm a partner in. Sorry. Oh,
no,
that was weird. You cut off. I thought you were done.
Oh no.
So I work for, or I partner in another studio called Occupied VR, and there's a running joke in the office that you're not allowed to work there unless you're like a techno composer. So everyone there's a producer in some sense. There's a couple guys that are fairly famous on labels, but I had a composer originally, and things didn't work out. He was like a friend of mine, and then one of my partners was like, "Oh, I got the guy." And I met Crushfield. I don't know if he wants me to say his name. It's fine. Christian Anderson. Yeah, and I just looked him up and found a couple tracks, and I was like, oh yeah, he's got it. He's the guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, awesome, man. I mean, if it's not present, you notice, but if it's present, it's really easy to overlook how strong of an element that adds to the game. And I definitely want to call attention to it, because I'm sure a lot of people feel it overall, and they feel like, hey, this game's really awesome. But just the music. I mean, you said a lot of people have recognized it, so maybe I'm just I'm beating a dead horse. But anyways, it was a big deal to me. It was the first thing I noticed. So moving up. Go ahead.
I think it's like sound design in general. Most people kind of don't really notice. They'll just know like, oh, that movie was really good, and not give the sound or the music enough credit. And like all of the audio in the game, or all of the music rather, is like 3D positional audio. So it sounds like it's coming from like a boombox or a ghetto blaster or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that really gets people. It's like a presence thing. Like, oh, here's the sound source. It sounds real. You can like tip the top of your head towards it and feel the music kind of wash over you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost seeing like a live show.
Yeah.
People tend to like bands better live than they do at home.
Absolutely. And I noticed that too. I noticed, of course, you've got kind of the ghetto blasters, the boom boxes positioned throughout the game, and I thought that was a neat touch. There's something immersive about that in and of itself, that you've got these kind of boom boxes that as you move around, it moves from your left ear to your right ear. Just really well thought out. A lot of stuff in the game like that. So hats off to you.
It's well thought out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I just like needed somewhere for the music to come from.
No, keep those things to yourself. We'll all just think you're incredible at what you do.
That was kind of a plan from the beginning, actually.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned in the Kickstarter video that like there would be persistent kind of radio stations and stuff, which actually isn't what happened, but it's similar.
Yeah. Yeah, almost sounds like someone that has a background with Grand Theft Auto. Uh,
Yeah.
so
That's like
no, go ahead.
no, it's just that like when you say that I worked on Grand Theft Auto, I think people are picturing like Grand Theft Auto 5, and we're talking like Grand Theft Auto 1,
Well, yeah,
which
way
I'm
back in the
sure
day.
most people don't even know existed. They don't even know what it looks like at this point.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it was one of the first games with a licensed soundtrack actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was the same year as Wipeout um, on PlayStation,
Yeah,
which was like I think that was the first like licensed soundtrack.
yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
A little bit of trivia there.
Yeah.
So I heard you saying at one of the interviews that I listened to preparing for this, and I was wondering if you have other tidbits like this. You were talking about how the human eye perceives green better than it perceives any other color. So you were talking about on the DK2 there was kind of a smearing issue with true black, and you were talking about how if you turn it down to gray a little bit, you have to be careful with the green balance because people will perceive it as a green hue, and you have to kind of work around that as a developer. Are there any other things that everyday consumers like me, there's not a dev bone in my body, as much as I wish there were, as much as I wish I'd put in some time there, but that average consumers like me would find really interesting, because I found that fascinating, but that you all know about that we have no idea is going on behind the scenes?
These are things that I knew about the human eye perceiving green more than other colors before, but like the things I discover about the technology as I'm working with it every day, right? Like there was the black smearing thing. Oh, good, my cat wants to so like I noticed that kind of by accident because I was trying to bump up the black a little bit so that we didn't get that smearing, and then people were complaining that they saw like a green haze, and looking at the color values, they're all the same, but then it just dawned on me, okay, well, we perceive green more than any other color, so you're going to perceive like a really light gray because that's how the pixels work on the screen, right? There's 3 pixels. There's like RGB, or there were at the time. I think OLED's different.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see the green pixels more than the other ones. But anyway, other things like that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That you got to design around when you were putting the game together.
Oh, there was one. This was really interesting. So originally there was a lot of stuff on the ground in the game, so you'd have to find things like that were on the floor. There's still a few things, but I noticed really early that people wouldn't look directly at things to pick them up. Like they'd see something on the floor and they'd just kind of like look down a little bit. So like the way the ray casting works in the game, it only knows you're looking at it if you're looking directly at it, right? So people would just kind of like look down barely and be frustrated because they couldn't pick things up. So I realized that I had to make like collision boxes on things huge, like a coin on the ground would have to be like 5 pizza boxes kind of size, right?
Yeah.
And I just found that really interesting, like that we don't tend to bend our necks to look down, or a very small amount anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I never thought about that, but that's a really good point.
So when you're picking things up, it's like, yeah, you either have to make the hitboxes really big, or like, I don't know, have somebody crane the person's head down.
Yeah. Now when I get lost in the game, I'm just gonna go around like button mashing, just like walking around.
A lot of people do that.
Really?
I guess that's okay, like that's what you had to do with the old point and click adventure games. You had to kind of like scroll your mouse across the whole screen and wait for the cursor to change.
Yeah.
But hopefully there's not too much of that.
No, there's not. The only time I've actually been stuck was when I was playing Technolust the second round, and I was told there was a key card somewhere. I think they're really good in-game cues, and if you're paying attention, you're not going to end up lost. But the only time it happened to me was like I was interacting with the audience, and I was getting a cue from the TV in the background. The woman, Glitch, I think is her name, and so I was getting getting cues from her and I wasn't listening, and then I got back to the game and people think I'm an idiot, and I am, but people know I'm an idiot because I'm like walking around just not finding anything, and they all have to suffer through it.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get stuck when you had to get the key card from she tells you exactly where it is, but
I know.
That's okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually complain like that they didn't hear something, and I find out that they were playing with their speakers rather than the headphones.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they're on DK2. And because it's all 3D audio, it's completely mixed for headphones. But if you try and do it through speakers, you're not going to hear half of what you need to hear, probably.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So that is, I don't know, maybe it's just me. People might be watching this and be like, this dude asks the shittiest questions in the world. But for me, that shit's fascinating. So, okay. So when you were developing Technolust, what were the biggest challenges? I mean, it's been a long process now, right? You've been in development for a couple of years. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered along the way as the game came to fruition?
Jeez, I probably should have read these questions ahead of time. The biggest challenge, I think actually the biggest challenge is just like getting it out there and being seen, you know, like there was a bit of problem at the end because I was on like hardware that was under NDA, and I'm a solo guy, so I didn't have testers for like the last 3 months of development, maybe even 4 months.
Oh man.
So that was hard, because then when you finally get it to people and you realize that they play differently than you do, and you're like, oh my god, I found a hole in the ground where I've never even walked. And like, but I guess that's normal, you know. The testing is a problem, but I think like getting it out there, getting like being visible so that people can buy it is a constant thing. Like even since the game is shipped, I'll spend half my day just emailing people like, hey, Oculus, can you like put out a tweet saying game launched?
Yeah.
And like sure, I'd love to do an interview.
Yeah.
You know, like we're doing
exactly.
Right now.
Shit like this. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like if you're not on the top of Reddit like for a day, my sales just tank, and it's like
that's insane.
Kind of depressing right now because there's not a lot of headsets out there. So, you know, I might be top selling, but haven't even come close to like breaking even. Yeah,
of course, and that's what I'd imagine. And I noticed that, you know, you're the top selling game. When I did my stream, you're the top selling game. But yeah, I mean that
it doesn't mean much at this point.
Exactly. That's not as rewarding as it should be. But hopefully, as headsets keep shipping, I mean, even people that don't have their headsets yet, they're in the Oculus Home, and they're seeing that. And hopefully, they, you know, when their headset does finally get to them, I think they're on like number 10 now. So whenever their headset does finally get to them, they can, you know, catch up. They can purchase it. So I mean, you've been stuck up there for a bit now. So hopefully, there's hope.
Yeah, I'm slowly dropping off.
No.
I'm off the feature thing, and I think I'm like, how many places are there? There's 8, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm 7 right now.
Oh, no.
So I'm worried it's going to drop off, and then like a whole slew of headsets will go out. And,
well, that's why you got to keep doing interviews like this. Hopefully we can get you some exposure. I can't promise anything because people, I think, secretly hate me, but that's, you know.
Oh, come on. You're so self-deprecating.
It's a ginger thing. I have to be. It comes with the territory. So, all right. So, I really want to emphasize, I don't know how much you have to play politics in the dev world, but I don't want to get you in trouble here. So if you don't want to answer this, please feel free. But so I don't know if you saw in the stream, and I am very open about this. Typically, developers, even if it's not my taste, I know a lot of work went into it, and there are people that are going to enjoy it, and I don't bash it because someone put a shit ton of work, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into that. But I make no qualms.
Sometimes that's not always the case.
Well, exactly, and so I make no qualms about how much I hated Fly to Kuma. Fly to Kuma was just a half-assed piece of shit, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the loop is horrible in the music, the animation's half-assed, just all around. Just it's a piece of shit game, and they shouldn't be charging remotely near. It feels like it should have banner ads all over it and in-app purchases. It's where games go to die.
How much was it?
It's $15. It's $15, which I don't know. I wouldn't pay $5 for it. I just seriously, I want to set my whole computer on fire because that's installed on my C drive right now. But so I want to know how that made it as an official Oculus launch title, but Technolust didn't, because it's 50 times the game Flight of Kuma is. So what happened? What happened there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like this is what I mean about it being hard to kind of like push yourself, right? Or like get yourself out there. Like I don't know. I really don't know what happened with Oculus. I don't know if it's like politics or it was just like I don't know if it's like they put money into a lot of those titles, or I just kind of like dropped off the radar for a little while.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was pretty frustrating for me near launch, saying like, I saw their PR video for GDC, and I was like, I emailed you guys and asked if I could at least be like in the video, and I didn't hear back from them. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble either.
Yeah.
Maybe someone there doesn't like me. I don't want to make them not like me more.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what that was about. There's a few of the launch titles I didn't really like either.
Yeah, of course.
Like like if we're calling people out, I didn't really like Adrift.
Yeah, same
here. It was
here.
the first thing I bought too.
Yeah.
And it made me super sick.
Really?
I was really confused by how, like, why they were pushing it so hard too.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Oculus's Twitter feed, they mention Adrift like twice a day.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, where's my love?
Yeah. Well, and it's a game that hypes really well. Like you see screenshots and it's like, oh, I can't wait to get in there. And then I got in there, and I haven't returned to it since I did my live stream. And it's hard on your eyes due to the convergence. It's beautiful when you look out. It's beautiful in that sense. But that's like 10% of the game max, especially when you have to move yourself around. And it was one of the games I was looking forward to most. And I'm right there with you. I just wasn't that impressed. And the reviews I'm seeing for it too, it's getting 5, 6, 7 out of 10, and with how hyped it was, it should be a solid 9 or 10 out of 10 by everyone that tries it. So maybe some people out there love it, and they can downvote this video on Reddit and on YouTube. That's fine by me. But Adrift for me was all hype. When I get in, Technolust was easily within the top 10% of the games I played, and I think on the live stream I played a total of 33 games. I've been back in Technolust several times. In fairness, every time I have time to put on my Rift, it feels like it's work because I'm preparing for something, right? I'm preparing for a video. I'm preparing for this interview. I'm sure you've had a similar experience as a developer putting out an awesome game. But easily top 10%, and I didn't hear about it from anyone until my viewers were like, what about Technolust? What about Technolust? What about Technolust?
That's another thing I'm worried about. It's like there's 3 reviews from like, biggish. Well, The Verge did a really good review. Road to VR did a good review, and VR Focus did a good review. And it's like reviewed better than 90% of the launch titles.
Yeah.
But the issue is, like, all of those reviews are out, and still nobody has the headsets, right? So, like, what?
Yeah.
People are going to have to start Googling these games to see if there's a review of it. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening right now. Right? Like, they get home, they put on the headset, there's like the featured titles. They're like, okay, well, Adrift, I guess that looks pretty.
Yeah.
And they buy that first. So it's a struggle. It's hard.
Yeah, for sure, man. I feel you, and I think. Go ahead.
Sorry, on the launch title thing, I think if you go to the store now and click on the launch lineup, they shoved me in there. So, though it technically wasn't a launch title, it's
now categorized as a launch title. Yeah. Oh man, they were like, oh, this one's selling. Let's make sure it's on the list over here. Oh, classic. Yeah. Okay, so
I honestly think they were probably pretty surprised to see, like, for the last like 2 weeks, the top two were both indie titles, right? It was me and Apollo 11, which is like, you can't get more indie than those two titles.
Yeah.
And so the guys at Oculus and the PR team were probably like, what the?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
What happened?
You know, and it sucks that so much is contingent upon maybe one or two people calling that right. You know, your livelihood's riding on it, the consumer's experience is riding on it, and I don't know. I don't want to make any enemies either. I've really enjoyed the Oculus experience so far, but someone just called it wrong. If the top two games riding for a while have been indie games that received almost no attention from Oculus, and the games that they gave a ton of attention, you know, aren't doing so hot as far as reviews and stuff go. Some of them are, but some of them aren't, like Adrift. I don't know. Someone made a bad judgment call somewhere along the way. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. So, so I remember. Yeah, right. We're probably already totally in the shit house, but whatever.
I love my Rift too. I try to come up with excuses to be able to play it every day. So. Yeah, same here. Yeah, because you're married too, so we need excuses. We need to be like, I gotta go work on something. No, that's the thing. I can call it work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I made this entire YouTube channel so that all of my VR purchases were tax deductible. So you mentioned in one of the interviews I listened to as well, you mentioned kind of a Cosmos project where you were thinking about getting in touch with Carl Sagan's widow and kind of having an experience of exploring the cosmos with Carl Sagan as the tour guide. Is that still on your list of things to try and accomplish?
Yeah, actually, while I was working on Technolust, I was doing consulting for another company called Dark Fusion, Dark with a C, and they did a 360 video of the Pale Blue Dot speech by Carl Sagan, which I love, and that turned out pretty well. I'm not sure what happened to it. I think it might be on Milk VR if you go on the gear. I think that's the only place you can look at Milk VR right now. And I'm in the credits on that. I'd love to do a bigger thing like that. Probably if I started on it, I'd want to work with Drash, who did Titans of Space and worked on Apollo 11, because I talk to him fairly regularly, and he's already kind of done a tour of the solar system thing.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of like I would try to, maybe jazz the art up a little bit and facilitate that connection with Carl Sagan. But yeah, I'd love to do that.
I think that would be incredible.
Huge Carl Sagan fan.
Same here. Yeah. Yeah, that would, and so that's why I had to ask about it, was just personally, and I think a ton of people would be interested in it because there are a ton of Carl Sagan fans, especially with the Fox revamp of Cosmos a couple of years ago and stuff like that with Neil deGrasse Tyson. But yeah, man, I want to know if it's coming. I want to know. So
okay.
And I'll make sure to review it and stuff like that too. I think that would be very well received. So, so what? I mean, you're really immersed in this world as a developer, and you've been developing Technolust for a couple of years. So what are for you, what's the most exciting application of virtual reality technology that you've seen so far?
I think the educational thing is huge. I've got a 3-year-old daughter, and she just loves the Rift. She'll come home from school and say, I want to see space, or I want to go to the ocean. And, I think that's such a powerful thing to give kids. For me, when I was 3 years old, I'd be lucky if I get to go to the zoo once a year, right?
Yeah.
And, for them, you can put them somewhere. I know technically we're not supposed to, and I'm not sure why, because I think her IPD is probably about the same as mine.
Yeah.
It's not damaging her eyes.
Yeah.
But I think that's huge. To just give them these experiences, I put her through Apollo 11, not knowing if she'd be bored to tears or not, but she loved it. She basically watched the whole thing, and then the next morning she woke up and said she wanted to go to space again. Like, how cool is that? Like, my 3-year-old's been to the moon.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, right?
Been to the bottom of the ocean. Like,
Yeah.
Those are like revelations that most people don't get to have.
Absolutely.
At all. So.
Absolutely. Well, and also, speaking as a person that changed my major in college like 11 times, to get a much better idea, especially at such a young age. Kids say they want to be astronauts, and they can experience now and go, no, that's not for me, So I'm going to be president. No, too much paperwork, So I agree. I think that, and my wife's actually a teacher, and so I think the educational aspects. When I learned what they were doing with the Apollo 11 project, and that's their whole mission as a studio, right, is to allow students to experience history instead of reading about it in textbooks. That's freaking huge. Can you imagine how great the test results would be for someone going through the Apollo 11 mission compared to reading about it in a book? That's just, I agree. That's incredible.
The Simpsons did it, right? Remember?
Yeah.
What was it? It was Genghis Khan, right?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Genghis Khan. You'll eat who I eat, defile who I defile.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the perfect experience for children. Yeah. That's applications that currently exist, that we're currently seeing, right? Are there any applications that we haven't seen yet that you think VR would be really, really good for? Maybe the technology is just not there yet, but it's something that really excites you vision-wise.
Something. I don't know. I feel like I should probably, if I came up with something, I should probably go talk to my lawyer.
Yeah, right. Patent attorney. Yeah. Never mind then. Never mind. See, this is what happens when you don't read the questions. You could have prepared your second best.
There's probably applications for education that we haven't thought of. Like I said, things that a 3-year-old can experience are separate than probably what most people think of when they think of education for VR. They think like grade school students.
Yeah.
I think at the younger ages, like, maybe under 7 is when, that's when their minds are most kind of supple, and you can teach them so much at this age.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Potentially. I mean, one of the things about going back a few years about the Kinect, when Microsoft released the Kinect, was developers started doing all kinds of shit that they had no idea was going to happen. And there was some really cool stuff being done. And of course, we're going to see that, I think, probably tenfold with virtual reality. It's going to be incredible.
I think we've been trying it for the last 2 years, right? And
yeah.
It's been a lot of failures and a lot of cool things that have come out of it, like just weird ideas that people hadn't thought of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are there any projects? Another thing that I heard about, I heard you discuss in an interview, but it was from like 2014. Was you all were talking about projects, and they were all projects that were like not on my radar at all at the time. Are there any virtual reality projects running right now, or Kickstarters, or anything like that you think are really incredible and just aren't getting enough attention, that you think more people should be tuning into, besides Technolust, obviously?
Right. I don't know. It's, I think I'd love to see some more like rhythm games. Kind
of like Audio Arena kind of thing?
Yeah, or like even maybe less physical ones, more, I don't know. I'm a huge Parappa the Rappa fan. I'm starting to kind of prototype a rhythm game that I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually tried Audio Arena.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I wish there was more kind of tools, like Oculus Medium, which some people, I didn't even get to try it at Oculus Connect 2. I was there, but I don't know why I didn't try it. I figured, I'll have the touch controller soon, and then I'll try it then. rather drink with my friends.
Yeah.
But things like that are definitely like more kind of applications. You know, we need like tilt brush for drawing, medium for like sculpting. There should be musical tools one of my studios is actually working on something that's kind of, we're pitching as the tilt brush of music, kind of like a music suite kind of thing. Things like that I think are really powerful. You know, like virtual desktop is like a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
But it's like, I can't believe how awesome it is.
Yeah.
I didn't even download it until like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I know the dev, and like they talk about it all the time. And then I tried it, and I was like, holy shit! Like, why am I using my monitor still?
Exactly. Yeah.
Playing all of my 2D games in there. Like, there's just like applications like that. I think are need to be made.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know if there's any Kickstarters or anyone you can support. I would buy Virtual Desktop if you don't have it already.
Absolutely. Sure. And I actually just got
brush and all that.
Yeah.
When it comes.
I was preparing for my live stream. I got my Rift on like a Wednesday, and the live stream was scheduled for Saturday, so I didn't get to do anything, besides prepare for the live stream. And then people were talking. I'd read about Virtual Desktop, and it just hadn't been on my radar. And I got it set up like last week, and I was just like, holy shit, it's like stepping into your computer. It's incredible. Yeah. So yeah, it's really well done.
Have you tried watching a 3D movie in it?
No, I haven't yet.
So go find a good torrent, like a nice 14 gig torrent of like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Or Dread is pretty good. And it's got like a side-by-side mode, so it'll automatically take the movie and put it in 3D. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like, I feel like I experienced a 3D movie for the first time.
Wow.
Like, it worked, It's like each eye is getting what it should.
Yeah.
And I was like, it gave me this epiphany that was like, why are people trying to do 360 video? Like, this works perfectly. This feels like VR. I feel like I'm in this movie.
That's incredible.
So good.
All right, I'm going to have to check that out then, and then make my wife check it out, and then make my brother check it out, and then probably talk about it on camera. So do you have any plans to develop anything for the HTC Vive?
Yeah.
You sound pumped about it. Yeah.
Well, like, yes. I'm not like I have the Vive, obviously. Yeah. The first thing I should do is port Technolust.
Yeah.
Which is just so daunting right now. I just like, I don't know. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is. I know.
And like, I've got the touch controllers. I've got the PlayStation VR. Like, I'd rather either move on to something new, or like port the touch controllers into Technolust. Makes more sense at this point. Like, it's like I was playing with it last night, and it's awesome. But like, to re-implement all the stuff, I really don't like the Steam or the
wands
Vive controllers.
Yeah,
they're just, I don't know. There's things I don't like about the Vive. I understand that people want that type of game, but like, I don't have it in me to build like a new physics playground for them to play in room scale, and I don't know that the value of porting Technolust right away is there.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have numbers on any of these things, but I assume that, like, I don't know. And there's this Revive patch, right, that allows people to play the Rift games in the Vive. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that just works really well. And, like, people can just buy the game; they don't have to port, right?
Yeah.
Like, it seems so counterintuitive to port to, like, it's still the PC, but it's a completely different. It's just a pain in my ass. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But yes, I'll definitely have stuff for the Vive, and like, once I've got the touch controllers all working in Technolust, then it makes sense to port to the Vive. And like I said, we're doing some stuff for the PlayStation VR, which is very, very close to the Vive with the controllers like being sticks.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be some Vive stuff, but I'm not concentrating on a Vive only title, and and I'm not concentrating on porting Technolust over right away because I just don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, and you've got so much promotion work to do with it. All even though it's just in Oculus Home right now. I mean, that's a ton of work. People don't recognize. I mean, that is a shit ton of work. There's a reason a ton of developers partner with publishing studios, right? Is so that they don't have to, so they can develop. And people, they just don't.
Yeah, well, this is why people have teams. Like, I'm doing like a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand. I wake up to like 40 emails in the morning, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Now I have to develop a game while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not easy.
Yeah. So let's closing up here. Of course, we've already talked about Technolust being the top-selling game on Oculus right now. And sticking there for a bit, and hopefully sticking there even longer. But how do you parlay that success into more? Where do you go from here? Do you have any future projects that you're kind of eyeballing that as soon as you get out from underneath the mountain you're buried under right now, promoting Technolust and stuff? What are next steps for you? Is there anything you've got your eyes set on and you just want to get into as soon as you can?
Definitely. I've got my hand in so many pies. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movie studios have come to me, like with pretty good movie IPs. So I'd like to dabble with those. I've already started one. I don't know if I can say who it's for or what it is.
Yeah.
But that's fun, like just working in somebody else's IP, just doing the little things, right? Like I assume these will be things for kind of movie theater or like movie promotion kind of stuff. But I like that kind of stuff. There's projects that I've already started prototyping for myself. Like I said, that rhythm game that I don't want to give out too much about because
of course
it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I get it all like written and get it out there before people try and beat me to the punch.
Yeah.
I'd love to do more in the Technolust universe, definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't have it in me right away, Like,
of course.
Hopefully, I was really hoping that like the game would launch and there'd be like 1 million headsets out there, or at least like I don't know 250,000 headsets out there, so that I can get enough money not only to dig myself out of the hole that I've dug myself into over the last 2 years, but like to be able to hire a couple people and maybe work on the Technolust IP with me.
Yeah.
Kind of spin up a studio.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go to Oculus. Apparently they have some money.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll give it to me.
Yeah.
HTC just announced a thing too, like $100 million.
$1 million. Yeah, that's what I saw too.
I don't need like 4.
Well, I wouldn't go knocking on the Oculus door. Apparently they don't like you very much.
Oh, come on. It's funny. Like individually, everyone I know at Oculus is great. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. We don't want to get you in trouble there. Yeah. So Blair, thank you so much for clearing the time, man. I really appreciate it. I hope people really enjoyed the interview. Something that's become obvious to me, I've tuned in more and I've listened to your interviews, and I've played a lot more of the game and done some cyber stalking and stuff. And something that becomes more and more obvious, especially now that we've gone through the interview, is that you're so deserving of all of the success you're receiving and so much more. So thank you so much. I really do. I'll do everything I can to get the word out. Hopefully this interview helps a bit, and you're awesome, man. I will purchase everything you put out. So just let me know, and you've got an easy sale and hopefully a video or something on it too. So keep me posted on your progress, man. I'd love to see how you develop it in the future, and best of luck on your continued success.
Thanks so much.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.